Okay, there's been a lot of fallout from the Musk-Trump Big Bad Breakup, the BBB breakup. And here's some reporting of the paranoia that is blossoming out of this breakup. Pop this up. What's he have on us? Paranoia grips White House because Musk, quote, knows too much. And put up the excerpt. Musk was allowed nearly unfettered access to sensitive information and executive power, and some advisors aren't even sure what he does or doesn't know about the administration. 6 Trump advisors, senior administration officials, and others close to the president have told Rolling Stone that an anxiety shared among some of the Trump brass is that Musk may know too much and that it could come back to bite them, considering his bitter, explosive exit. Tisk, tisk.
Here's the thing. These are people that think it's fine to do war plans and strategizing on Signal group chats, who invite their wives and their attorneys and brothers on Signal chats. So the only thing I can think of that they're so worried about being secretive is stuff they know is either against the law or against the Constitution. And that's my opinion. I think that this is nefarious to the end. You're not that paranoid unless you're doing something wrong.
There's no question that Musk went into these organizations and stopped investigations into himself and played all the loopholes and glad-handing that he could to award himself contracts. And he knows a lot of the conversations that have been had. And like we've been screaming from day one, this is mutually assured destruction. I think it's fascinating that people within Trump's inner circle are leaking to Rolling Stone magazine, who has been relentless. They're not like ABC News. They're not like CNN. They're not bending the knee. Rolling Stone is relentlessly going after this administration. So that part really cracks me up. Next up, we have another story coming from the Rolling Stone. Pop this up. Trump finally gets the police state he's been craving for years. The president's increasingly aggressive immigration raids and arrests drew protests in LA and gave him an excuse for a militarized crackdown. And here's an excerpt from the story. 2 sources familiar with the matter tell Rolling Stone that senior administration officials are planning to ramp up and expand the already tense blitz of immigration raids during the weeks that the National Guard is expected to be mobilized in the Los Angeles area. One of these sources, a Trump administration official, says it is hard to imagine that protesters would stay home for this, and that escalation is such a scenario is all but inevitable. And so, the reason that this is even going on is the same reason that we have all of this tariff stuff. It's the same reason that everything crazy is happening in this country that shouldn't be happening. It is that Trump is a toxic, unhinged, crazy person. All of this, Stephen Miller is the architect of. Mm-hmm. He's sending ICE to Home Depot, which is interesting considering the Home Depot owner is a big MAGA thumper. I mean, a triple Trumper to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars donated to Republican policies. So he's sending in ICE to Home Depot because he wants people to see injustice. Indecent people, when they see injustice, speak out against it. People that have convictions speak out against injustice. Wild horses can't keep them from speaking out against it. So you have this in Los Angeles, this reaction to people seeing injustice, and they're going to spread this all over the United States because their number one goal is to prevent the midterms from happening so that they have just standing power with no expiration date.
Well, Mike Johnson's even going around saying, if the Democrats win the midterm, Trump will be impeached. No shit, because he's breaking the law and doing impeachable acts all day, every day. And what they are doing, just the fact that it's by design, they're hurting people on purpose for their own power, just shows how depraved they are, the whole lot of them. And hatred as spiritual nourishment didn't go far enough, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree. And all of the people that are bending the knee, ABC News, these law firms, Columbia University, it's such a short-sighted bullshit, chicken shit, cowardice game that they're playing to bend the knee to Donald Trump, who, let's face it, he's slumped over. He's 80 years old. He can't blend his makeup. He can't stay on point when he's speaking, slurs his speech. He's wearing knee braces. He's shitting his pants. He's got a catheter in his panties because he can't hold his TT in. And he's running around with Elon Musk, who's freebasing ketamine. And he himself, too, is pissing his pants as well. And that's who you're bending the knee to? That's the short-term game you're playing? Are you kidding me? Talk about brand damaging. I'm going to tell you this. If we get through this shit with Trump, which I think we will, people, these protests, this is the fight of our lives, the fight for our country. We've got to. The next step will be for us to consolidate all of the people that protested this and make sure all of those people that bent the knee are fucking canceled. And I mean totally canceled. ABC News, those law firms, and on and on and on. Bending the knee to a fascist when you have reaped all the benefits of the American public and all the loopholes, the bullshit loopholes that have fucked over the working class only to benefit you. And you can't fight for everybody. It's just so chicken shit to me. Okay, next up, we have an article from the Washington Post. Pop this up. Breaking news. The Trump administration is planning a major increase of deportations to Guantanamo, including citizens of Britain, France, and other allies. Officials said they are unlikely to inform the foreigners' home governments about the transfers. Interestingly enough, Caroline KKK Levitt has said on Twitter that this is, quote, fake news, but I think she's a lying liar, and I think that this is the kind of shit they want to do. You need to realize, everybody needs to realize, Trump shows more kindness to dictators. The guy from El Salvador, Vladimir Putin. We all know about his love affair with Kim Jong-un from his words, not ours. Donald Trump told us he had fallen in love with Kim Jong-un. And so, of course, he's going to do this kind of shit because people in his administration bash Europe and bash the European Union and bash democracies around the world. You know why? Because they call for accountability. And this kind of shit doesn't live in accountability. It dies in accountability. That's why they fired all the inspectors generals.
Well, they fire everybody that's going to hold them account or anybody with expertise. And you look at this, and here's my thing. We've got the World Cup coming up, and Donald Trump thinks it was divine intervention that the World Cup, he would be president during the World Cup. And if I am the World Cup nations, I look at this and say, I'm not going. I do not want it there. And I would love to see an uprising. So many countries are planning to be here for the World Cup. I wish they would move it. I really do. Our behavior, our ICE and Homeland Security, what they're doing to people should not be tolerated.
And what they're doing at the border when people are flying in from other countries, that kind of stuff that's happening is insane. Christiane Amanpour, the famous journalist, she had a video tweet that she put out where she was planning a trip for work to come to the United States. And she had to plan it as though she was flying into a dictatorship. And she's been to the United States multiple times because she's not a citizen. And she hears what's happening in airports. She hears what TSA is doing. And so she had to plan her trip entirely differently than she would have 5 months ago when Joe Biden was president. And you guys, this is why it is just so important. The most important thing you can do as an American right now is fight and make sure that you are as educated as possible on the facts. MAGA has this massive misinformation arm of the media. And you can see a headline about what Trump is doing in Los Angeles, and it's spun to favor him. And then you can see another headline with the facts that it is an overreach, that it is a manufactured crisis so that he can federalize the National Guard. And how Pumps and I keep all of this clear is through our subscription to Ground News. We use it all day, every day. It tells you if there's a bias in the story, it tells you the factuality ranking, and it tells you who owns the publication in which you're reading the news from.
I love the blind spot feature because it is shocking to see the different reports from the right-leaning versus centrist versus left-leaning media. It's so important, you guys.
So join us by going to groundnews.com/IHIP to get 40% off the Ground News Advantage plan that Pumps and I use every single day. They are subscriber funded and female founded. By subscribing, you're not only getting a tool we all need today, you're also supporting our work here at I've had it in IHIP News. That's ground, GROUND news.com/IHIP. We have pinned the link right below in the show notes. This is totally worth it. Be a good citizen, and you have agency about the way that you get the news. Next story up. Let's put up this tweet from Dan Rather, who his post-retirement Twitter career, no notes, A+. He posts, maybe a new slogan for Fox News should be, for those who can't handle the truth. And this is so true, because that stupid phone call that Trump's lying about between Newsom and Trump, Jesse Waters edited out the part where Trump said I called him last night. They edited out that sentence. And if you remember, Titty Baby, I mean, the biggest toddler on the planet with his poo-poo diaper, Donald Trump, he is suing CBS for editing of Kamala Harris's interview. And I can tell you, as podcasters, when we have people on, and if they go on and on and on and on, sometimes we have to cut and cut here for time, and we never edit it to make the person sound worse or better or whatever. But in Fox's situation here, they edited it to lie to their viewers, and they have had to pay $1 billion for lying to their viewers, and they still have millions of viewers because people can't handle the truth.
He's exactly right about that. And when you look at Fox News, their viewers know they had to pay almost $1 billion. They know Donald Trump lies more than he tells the truth, and they simply don't care because they're so angry and full of rage.
Okay, and then here's Trump economically is a total disaster. It's just such bullshit. One of the biggest lies, besides the fact that he's a patriot, one of the biggest lies is that this guy is good at business and that he knows about business. Everything he's ever touched, he's bankrupted. His daddy handed him $400 million. This guy is a con artist to the most extreme. So he fucks up everything with all these tariffs. And then now he's fucked it up. China has basically just owned us. And this guy's so dumb, he's taking a victory lap. Put this up. Our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied upfront by China. Likewise, we will provide to China what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities, which has always been good with me. We are getting a total of 55% tariffs. China is getting a total of 10%. Relationship is excellent. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, first of all, you're not welcome, and quit thanking people at the end of your tweets. I think that's stupid. Secondly, it's such an L. Take the L. Yeah. The American taxpayer is now going to be paying 55% tax on Chinese goods. And China won this all day long and twice on Sunday. You created this thing. She has walked you like the tiny little puppet that you are.
Of course, the relationship is excellent. Donald Trump's too stupid to know he got hosed, and China's laughing all the way to the bank. And for your attention, Donald Trump, you can't keep Chinese students from U.S. universities. The courts have told you that so far.
But what about this, Pumps? Is it he wants to dismantle universities, or he's going to let Chinese people come to universities? This type of moral duplicity that these guys have is where democracy dies. No National Guard at January 6th, National Guard for sure in L.A. We can't stand universities. They're too woke. Oh, wait, China wants their kids to go here. Oh, welcome Chinese students. This type of just ambiguity, just corrosive thinking that MAGA lives in, that level of dissonance is where democracy dies, because there's no conviction. There's no flow of ethics or morality or process or anything. This guy is like a toddler. Sees something in front of him, it's a shiny object, he likes it, he rattles it, he falls down, he starts bawling, crying, he shits his pants, he pisses his pants. We're dealing with a fucking toddler.
A petulant toddler that's empty. He is so mentally ill and morally bankrupt that, he truly is the worst of every American, in my opinion. He exemplifies everything that is bad about human race.
I couldn't agree more. It's just fascinating that people voted for him and that they get on the internet and defend one day one stance, And then President Dipshit changes his mind and they're like, oh, well, it's 180.
The art
and
of the
then they
deal.
just change their minds. He's playing 5D chess.
Oh.
Shut the fuck up. I mean, I've just had it with these dipshits and this dipshit party. You know what? Let's stop calling it the MAGA party and start calling it the dipshit party over and over and over again. All right. It's a very uplifting episode here at IHIP News. Please subscribe to our channel, buy our book, support us how you can, support Ground News, and we'll see you all later.